Hey everyone! Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something we all use but barely ever think about: the secret life of our operating systems. I'm talking about the entire journey from the moment they're born all the way to, well, potential disaster. Seriously, think about it. When was the last time you actually wondered how your computer just works? We just expect it to, right? We hit the power button, our apps pop up, our files are there. But behind that simple screen, there's a whole world of effort, a constant battle just to keep things running smoothly. And that's where this hidden life cycle comes in. It's the secret playbook, the blueprint that the pros use to manage not just one computer, but hundreds, maybe even thousands of them. It's all about making sure those systems stay reliable, secure, and, well, ready for pretty much anything. All right, so let's get into it. First up, building the system. Imagine you're an IT admin and you have to set up 1,000 brand new computers. Are you going to walk around with a USB stick to each and every one? No way. You've got to do this at scale. So the pros have a couple of clever tricks up their sleeve. The first one is remote imaging. Think of it like a photocopier for computers. They build one perfect master machine with everything set up just right, and then they just clone it, zapping it across the network to all the other machines. The other way is network installation, where each computer basically reaches out to a central server and says, "Hey, give me the new OS." Either way, the goal is the same: consistency and control. Everyone gets the exact same secure setup right from the get-go. Okay, so we've got the OS on all those machines. Great, but hold on, the job's not even close to being done. Before a single person is allowed to log in, you've got to make sure this whole thing actually, works. It's time to put these systems through their paces. And this isn't just about randomly clicking around to see if anything breaks. No, it's a super methodical test plan. It's a whole process. You define what you're testing, you figure out what success actually looks like, and then you design tests that mimic what real people are going to do every single day. Things like, can they log in? Can they open a document? And of course, the big one, the one that always causes problems, can they print? I love this analogy. It's like getting a new kitchen. You wouldn't just pay the builder and walk away, right? Of course not. You'd flick the light switches, you'd turn on the taps, you'd make sure the oven heats up. It's the same idea here. The point of testing isn't to find every single tiny bug. That's impossible. The goal is to build confidence, to know for sure that the system can do its job before you let real people start relying on it. But let's be real. Even with the most amazing plan and the most thorough testing, stuff is gonna break. It just is. That's the nature of technology. And that brings us to the next phase, the daily reality of troubleshooting.
And the key here is having a system. It doesn't matter if the computer won't boot up, if someone's password isn't working, or if an app just keeps crashing. The process is always the same. You're like a detective. Gather the clues, figure out the symptoms, and then work through the problem step by step. And hey, every problem you solve is a lesson learned, making the entire system just a little bit stronger for next time.
Okay, so daily fixes are one thing. But what happens when it's not just one glitch? What happens when it's not just one person's computer, but the entire network is at risk of going down? Now we're moving from everyday troubleshooting to planning for an absolute catastrophe. And we need to get a couple terms straight here because they get confused all the time. First, you've got business continuity. That's the big umbrella plan. It's about keeping the entire business running no matter what happens. A power outage, a flood, you name it. Then, tucked inside that plan, you have disaster recovery. That part is laser-focused on one thing and one thing only: getting the computers and the data back online after a total meltdown. So let's paint a picture of a worst-case scenario. And you know what? It almost always starts with a tiny, simple mistake. Someone in the office finds a USB stick in the parking lot. Huh, wonder what's on this. They plug it into their workstation. And boom, that's all it takes. The stick was bait. Ransomware floods the network, locking up every single critical file. The whole company is held hostage. That is a disaster. So what do? The crucial thing is, you don't panic. You follow the plan. Step 1, isolate. You unplug that infected system from the network immediately. Stop the bleeding. Step 2, erase. You completely wipe the compromised machine. Don't take any chances. Step 3, restore. You grab your most recent, clean backup and bring it back online on a new machine. And finally, step 4, validate. You double-check that everything is working perfectly before you even think about plugging it back into the network. That right there is disaster recovery in action. Now, This whole life cycle we've been talking about, building, testing, troubleshooting, recovering, it's all being transformed by one massive shift, the move to the cloud. Basically, the cloud comes in three main flavors. You've got infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. Think of this like renting the raw hardware. You still have to install and manage the operating system yourself. Then there's platform as a service, or PaaS. Here, they handle the OS for you. You just focus on your apps. And finally, software as a service, or SaaS. This is the stuff we use every day, like Gmail or Facebook. You don't manage anything except your own stuff. It all boils down to a simple trade-off. How much control do you want versus how much convenience do you need? And you can see why everyone's doing it, right? It's just easier. It's convenient, you can scale up or down in an instant, and backing up your data becomes way simpler. But there's always a but. You give up some direct control. And here's the kicker. Those subscription costs, they have a habit of creeping up over time.
So all of this brings us to one last really important idea. There's an old rule in the IT world called the 3-2-1 rule. It says your data doesn't really exist unless you have 3 copies on 2 different types of media, with one of those copies completely offline and disconnected from everything. So here's my question for you. As you're sitting there with all your files in the cloud or on your laptop, do you actually know where your most important data is? And more importantly, is it safe?